The Voice. Beth is with us, Beth Griffith-Manley.
Yeah.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Mason. Hi.
Always good to see you.
It's always good to be seen. Thank you. It's good to see you.
My goodness. I think the last time we were in studio and we were talking, you were telling me a story about your dad. You got to tell the story again.
My dad, the late Johnny Griffith, was one of the Funk Brothers. That is kind of juicy.
His instrument.
The piano, keyboard, organ.
Wow.
Yeah, that was him. If you hear the rolling organ and Stop in the Name of Love, right, that's my dad. If you hear What's Going On, Marvin Gaye, that's my dad. If you hear Heard It Through the Grapevine, that's my dad. He's on some Jackie Wilson. He's on some Supremes. He's on Four Tops. He's on the Temptations. He's Junior Walker in the All-Stars. It's just number of
I could have swore
songs.
You told me all this before, but see, I told you it's like Disney to me.
Well, I'm still learning my dad's catalog. It's so much. And as well as him being a musician and part of the Funk Brothers, he was a solo artist, jazz musician on Motown's jazz label. He was one of the first that they ever signed to their jazz label. So my father not only was a musician, but he was a producer. He was he was an artist as well. He owned his own record label. He had two labels. He named one after my sister, and then he named one after me.
Say it.
So those
Name of
there
those
was Beth
labels?
L Records, and then Anise Records, which I in turn named my record label Anise Records after my father. I changed the spelling, but it's the same pronunciation. So I get that from my dad. The fire, the push, the independent, the business owner. I get that from my dad.
Beth Griffith-Manley in studio with us today. That's a great story. I told you it's like Disney for me, man.
It's an amazing story when you look back and I think about everything that my dad did in the music industry, and it was kind of unsung because he is a part of American music that we listen to all the time, and we're just used to hearing it. We don't think anything of it. You hear Motown, and Motown is a part of us. When you're from Detroit, and anytime you travel, you say, I'm from Detroit, and people go, Motown, and it's
That's
just
right.
Detroit and Motown. So like you said, when you were growing up, you thought Motown was a city.
Next
It
to
is
Detroit.
kind of a city. If you go to Hitsville, that's a mini entity. They groomed their artists to, it was a community, it was a family. And I actually can say that I am proud that I am a part of that family. There are people that were members of the first five that started Motown, Pat Cosby and Janie Bradford.
Yeah.
These are people who I call family and who I call on the phone. These are my aunts and my uncles and Reggie Dozier, brother of,
Lamont.
Lamont Dozier. I mean, these are my family. I call them. This is my Uncle Reggie, this is my Aunt Jane, that's my Mama Pat. Those are my people. Those are my family, and they have embraced me and nurtured me and mentored me. And I wouldn't be where I am now if it was not for those people that knew my dad and saw that I was trying to come up, and they have just embraced me, and they love on my husband and I and my mom so much. It's amazing.
That's a beautiful story.
Thank you.
Beth Griffith-Manley is on the television show The Voice. How did that happen?
I don't know, Mason. I'm still trying to, the way the story happened or way it happened, I have been singing for a very long time, and I've always said I'm never going to do one of these TV shows because you put yourself out there in front of millions of people. It's on an average of what I think I heard maybe 10 million people are watching the show when it comes on. That's a lot of people, And I said I was not going to put myself in front of a situation where I had to be exposed and judged and picked apart in front of everybody. I'm like, I'm grown. I know I can sing. I'm already a working singer. So I was like, I don't need to do this. But in 2017, I released my own album and, independent. My husband and I, we put it out. And I had a lot of fun doing that. But I don't have a big label. I don't have the marketing dollars behind me. So I was okay with that at first. And then I was like, this is a little harder than what I thought. So the show actually reached out through my management and invited me to come to the show. Well, in 2016, my mom got really, really sick, and I had made the commitment to take care of my mother and still sing because I sing background with Kim as well still. And I was just like, nope, I'm just going to, the album will be out. I'll travel with Kim, and then I'm just going to take care of my mom. And so the show invited me to come audition, and I turned it down because at the time my mother was ill, and I just didn't know what I was getting into. I was like, no, I'm too old. I'm just not going to do this. And maybe how many months later? A couple months later, they called back. They reached out again. But the crazy thing was, my album had been out, had done a couple shows and was reaching out to promoters. It was really hard to connect with them because I'm a new artist. They don't know me. And I called my manager, Courtney Benjamin, and I said, hey, or I texted him. I said, hey, I need to talk to you. And he was like, okay, cool. I think he was like, I got to talk to you too or something. And we got on the phone. I said, hey, this thing is a little bit harder than what I thought. So, what do you think I should do next? We need to do something that's clean and respectful, but to get me out into the public eye. And I said, I know the show called before, and I said no, but can you call them back? Because, I'll be willing to do it now. My mom was getting better, and I said, let's just try something different. If you want something different, do something different. Let's try something different. Yeah. And he told me, he was like, it's funny you say that because they called back today.
Wow.
The same day that I told him that I wanted him to call them. And I think I was like, get off the phone. Quit talking to me like right now. Call them back right now. And that was it. And he called them back and he was like, she said yes, and now I'm on the show.
What happens next?
The next thing, I went to an audition. And
where? Here in Michigan?
No, the audition was in Chicago. And went to the audition and made it past that. And then I had
How many people were there to audition? Did you see them?
No, I didn't. If you get called in, it's a very intimate situation. There was no line.
How many people were there listening to you?
It probably was about 6 people in the room.
What kind of room was it?
I was in a recording studio.
Oh, you're in a studio?
Yeah, I went to a recording studio. And
so you had headphones and you were behind the mic?
No, really. And to honestly tell you, I have to be very vague with some of these answers. Okay. But the audition was private. What I will tell you is information that is known.
How many people were there to hear you?
Probably about 6.
Okay.
About 6 people in a room. I went into a studio and I just had to sing. I had to let them hear me.
What did you sing? Can you tell?
I sang. I don't know if I can tell you that.
Something we know.
Something you know. You definitely know.
What happens next? You do well in Chicago. They move you on. Where do they move you to next?
I went straight to Los Angeles.
To California?
Yeah.
You get to California. Are they now talking show or are you still auditioning?
There's another audition process. Okay. Yes.
Do you see people this time?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
They put you in a nice hotel?
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
You get to this LA.
And I talk a lot, Mason. So, but I can only answer. Yeah. Okay. So
you do this LA audition. What happens to you next?
After you do the second, round of auditionings or third or whatever number it is, you are then selected to do the blind audition.
Okay.
And then we do the blind audition.
They explained it to you?
Yes.
Explain it to us then.
You
cannot.
I cannot.
Okay, but you do it.
Yes.
All right. What happens next? How do you get on TV?
They look and listen very critically, and just as the viewers do on television, and it's the same type of process. You look and you listen, and being on television singing is a lot different than being in a studio. It's a lot different than singing to your family. It's a lot different than singing at church. There's lights, there's camera, and you all you know this. There are people. There's people moving around you, and you can't be distracted by it's a whole nother thing. I'm so blessed that I have been on television before. I'm so blessed that I've been in a studio before. I'm so blessed that working with Anita Baker many years as her background singer and being on big stages and working with Kim. I've been with Kim 6 years now. All of those things have trained me and molded me to get to this point to where When I got on stage for my blind audition, yes, I was freaking out. I was totally nervous because you're singing to the back of these chairs and you know these stars are listening to you.
Yes.
But it was a sense of I've become somewhat comfortable on the stage, and I'm so grateful to God that He has just allowed me to. There's been a process. He has totally slow walked me through this process so that I will be prepared for where I am now.
So tell people where we are television-wise.
Well,
what have we missed for those who
yes.
have not seen you? What have we missed, and when can we see you next?
Well, if you have not been watching the show, what you have missed is my blind audition, which aired, I think, March 11th. You can go back to YouTube and find that. And that is when I sang a song by our beloved Aretha Franklin, Till You Come Back to Me.
Competition tough that night?
Yeah, the competition is very tough on this entire show because the talent level is just great. And it's amazing to hear, because I'm the oldest contestant on the show, first of all.
Is that right?
I am.
Do they make note of that on television?
Oh, yeah, they made me tell it. So, here's the thing. I am the oldest person, and that, to some people, they like that. I've received some criticism. Why did you say your age? A lot of that. There are people on the show that are 16. I'm 46. That's a huge gap. But it's a blessing in that. And those who really know me know I've never told my age. There's some people who never knew how old I was. And there's some people who know because they went to school with me, I never tell my age because in this business it can be where people judge you about your age before you even get started. The one thing I'm thankful about with this show is they don't discriminate in that manner. They look for your voice. They look at your experience. They look at your talent. I am enjoying the fact that I'm able to sing with younger people because I'm able to sing with millennials, people I would never really work with. They're able to sing with me and learn from me, which they would have never been able to do that. And the exchange is so amazing.
When those chairs turned around, who in the chair was the biggest shock?
I think John Legend turning around, because when I did my blind audition, John Legend turned around first, and then Kelly Clarkson turned around second. They're both incredible artists. Kelly Clarkson won American Idol. She's an amazing singer, extremely soulful. People have asked me, why did you pick Kelly? Why didn't you pick John? And my question to them is, have you ever heard Kelly Clarkson sing? She is just so good.
When
it was nothing against John Legend, because he's an EGOT winner. I mean, come on.
When you pick them, what do they then do for you?
Well, you pick your coach, and then you rehearse with your coach. They have already had an opportunity to listen to your voice and see what your skills are, what your strengths are, what your weaknesses are. And then if you get a chair turn, then you go to a next round, which is called the battle round. And each team is then set up 12 people. And then the coaches now have to get their team smaller. So they put you against somebody on that team which they feel is comparable to you or better than you or will challenge you, and then they have to pick who's the winner of that battle round. You guys take one song.
Happened?
Yeah, so we get a song called Jealous by Labyrinth, a song I'd never heard before by a UK artist. And I was told that I had to sing against a young man named Jedge, and Jedge is 22 years old. He lives in L.A., but he's originally from the Philippines. Amazing story. He came here when he was 15, didn't even speak English. And if you listen to him and close your eyes, sounds like Brian McKnight, like he's incredible. The nicest guy ever. And we had to sing together, against each other, but together for this song, and we did it as a duet. And that's how the songs are paired, like a duet. But the coaches select who they feel wins. And on this particular song, they selected Jedge as the winner of the song.
And that's Kelly Clarkson's team.
Yes, so Kelly has the final say, but the other coaches can vote of who they feel won the battle.
So what happens?
We sang it. We got an amazing response from it. But Jedge won the battle. But the cool thing is if you lose, that doesn't mean that you have to go home, because the other coaches have an opportunity to steal you and bring you to their team.
So did you or did you not have to go home?
I got stolen by the EGOT winner, John Legend.
Wow.
So I am still on the show.
Oh, wow.
So I'm really happy about that. I'm excited about that. I look so forward to working with John Legend, because in our lifetime, you don't really even meet a person who's won an Emmy, a Grammy, an Oscar, and a Tony. And he is one of the few African Americans that have won all 4 coveted awards. I'm excited to work with him.